Today we're going to do a lasagna garden. One of the first things you want to look for is the best spot where you have a lot of sun. Now, in our last recording, I was showing a different part of the garden. I was thinking of extending the garden out another 8 feet, but when I looked more carefully at the trees nearby and the shade that they were producing over the course of the day, I realized that wasn't the best spot, and I had a sunnier location. So this time we're going to move it, and we are going to be in a sunnier spot. Now, in this particular video, you don't see any sun because it's really the end of the day. But this corner of the garden definitely has the most sun for me. So you may not have a choice, but if you do, try to find the sunniest spot. To get our lasagna garden started, what is a lasagna garden? First of all, it is a way to kill the grass and build up layers on top of it so that you can then plant in the spring and have some soil. And the lasagna part of it that you're building up is going to be providing nutrients to the soil over time. Not immediately, but over time it'll break down and it'll seep down into the ground and then get to the roots. One of the benefits of lasagna gardening is that it's blocking the weeds. And I would say for first-time gardeners or new people or even older people doing it, weeding is one of the most difficult parts of gardening. And if you're not expecting it, that's a lot of work. And if you don't keep on top of it, or you let your soil be bare, weeds will grow in there, and then you'll have to do that maybe 3 times a year, really heavy weeding. And it's a lot of work to pull those roots out. So we're going to try to just eliminate that by covering the weeds as much as possible. You'll never get 100%, but you can get close. And so we're going to block out all the light from the ground underneath. And to start out, to do that, we're going to use cardboard. So if you order a lot of things online, you can find a dumpster, or you have a source of cardboard, maybe family and friends. Get the cardboard wherever you can, and just start small and build gradually. So here is a section. I had enough cardboard to do one section, manageable. In the future, I want to do some more, but the key is just do it in smaller sections that you can actually do. Now, in my example here, I'm doing about 10 by 10. If I fence it in, it'll probably be more like 8 by 8, but it's something that's manageable for me. Your garden might be smaller. It might be a raised garden with a 4 by 8. And so if you do a 4 by 8 raised bed, you need less cardboard, less soil, less materials for your lasagna garden, and it's going to be easier. So what I'm saying here is just start out simple. Don't overdo it, because the larger your garden gets in this approach, the more work it's going to be. Cardboard is really good for a couple of purposes. It helps block out all the grass underneath, and also the worms love it. So once you get that down there and it starts decomposing, the worms are going to come up and start eating the cardboard, and at the same time they're going to make a lot of paths inside the ground and aerate your soil, and they're going to leave worm castings behind, which are very good nutrients for your soil. So we're going to let the worms do most of our underground work. Now, if you're younger, or if you have a lot of energy and you want to dig your bed first, you can. It's just a matter of how much time and energy you have. You can do a double dig bed or a single dig bed, or if you have a tiller, I would say it's okay to till your ground once the first time, but we want to avoid tilling it every year because it'll destroy the structure of the ground, kill your worms, and so we're not going to do it here every year. But if you want to do it the first time, that's okay. So we're going to cover the soil with the cardboard, and then the next thing we're going to do is use our composted material. Now, in my I'm near woods, so I found some really well composted leaf mulch, very finely decomposed almost all the way here. So this is really good stuff, black gold I call it, and I don't have a lot of it, but enough to cover the first layer of cardboard, and that's going to help decompose the cardboard and provide the first level of nutrients that are going to get down once the cardboard is broken down. And the cardboard is only going to take a couple of months to break down once it's covered by other things. So let's go ahead and cover the cardboard and see what that looks like. Now we're going to add another layer, and what I have available is really the last grass of the year and leaves. We're going to put down a layer of fresh lawn clippings and leaves. I just mowed them yesterday, and I want to get the last bit of nitrogen from the grass clippings into our lasagna garden. And it's not broken down at all yet, it's just all mixed in with the leaves, chopped up, and I'm going to put that as a layer. Okay, now that we have our cardboard covered, one thing we don't want to do is we don't want this to blow away in the wind. So we want to put some covering or heavy things on it. And in this case, what I have available to me is I have a lot of branches I just cleaned up from the yard, and I'm just going to put them on top of it. If you ever heard of hugelkultur, it's putting in sticks and logs and things in your garden, and those are going to break down over a long period of time, maybe a year, a couple of years. That's okay. We're just covering our cardboard here, building another layer in our lasagna garden. Now, just be careful. We don't want to mix this into our soil. It'd be actually robbing nitrogen at first. So this is just on the top layer. And then finally, as our last layer, I have some older leaves, 10% maybe broken down. So we're going to put them on top just to cover it and help the sticks and logs underneath decompose a little bit faster. If they're covered and bugs and bacteria can get to them faster, they'll break down a little bit quicker. So again, the purpose here is to just build up your lasagna garden with whatever you have. It could be cardboard, leaf mold, or chopped up leaves, really nice compost. Could be sticks. You can even put food in there. I would say go easy on it. You might want to put your food in a normal compost pile and let it decompose or compost over the course of a few months, and then put it in the garden. But at this point in time, our lasagna garden is going to be sitting here for a few months. So if you want to put a few vegetables, table scraps, leftover garden plants, you could do that too. But I usually put them into the compost pile so they break down a little bit better over there. So there you go. Start small, add layers, and then over time you can just keep adding more. So it's an ongoing process. You don't have to do it all in a day. I didn't do this all in a day. I actually collected the materials over the course of a couple of days, made some piles, and then spent another day just laying it out here and putting the layers on top. And you can start half the size of what I have here, a quarter the size, whatever size works for you. Remember, we're in God's creation. Enjoy the nature He's provided for us, and God bless.